Hello YouTube, VG Time back again with another deck profile. This time concerning Golden Great Ape Son Goku. This was the trial deck leader introduced with the swap mechanic. It's a very good card, but sadly swap has seen better days as the majority of their powerful cards have been banned. But still a very good mechanic. This leader right here was not necessarily the favorite swap leader. In fact, it was far from it. But it has an important tag in this deck, which is actually two of them, Goku Lineage, as well as Son Goku GT. So on the front side, he's Golden Grave Son Goku. When he attacks, he draws a card. And then he has an Awaken at 4 or less life where he untaps 2 energy. On the back side, he's Long Odds Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. He has the auto when he attacks, he draws a card. And then he has a permanent that if your life is equal to or less than your opponent's, he gets plus 5k in critical for the turn, during your turn. So what's great about Pure Swap is that the entire chain is usually in barrier. And there's a lot of decks that have no real way of dealing with barrier because they're not really built with them with an answer built in. What's helping now is that they have counterplays, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But again, this is more for locals, and you can catch a lot of people off guard. So we start out with 4 copies of Adoptive Father Son Gohan. He's your starter for the deck. He is a blocker, and he swaps for 2, so he goes into a 2-drop by returning him to your hand. 2-drop you want to go into is Intrepid Dynasty Son Gohan. This guy right here swaps for 3 for 2 yellow energy, and he has barrier. If you can't go into him, the backup is to go for Dependable Dynasty Son Goku, which is swap 3 for a double yellow, but he's 15k. So he might, survive some minusing and things like that, but he doesn't have any other kind of real protection. When you swap into 3, you want to go into Indomitable Dynasty Super Saiyan Son Goku, who swaps 4 for double yellow and has barrier. And then, if you can't go into him, or you need to remove a threat on the table, you go into Ultimate Potential Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan. He also has swap 4 for double yellow. It has an auto that when you play him, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and you pop it. Now, the best part of this chain is the 4-drop. At least one of the strongest parts is the 4-drop, which is Discover Dynasty Son Gohan. He swaps 5 for 3 energy, all yellow. He has barrier, and when you swap into him, you draw 2 cards. And then, if you can't get him, it's really hard to say to do this, but you don't really have much choice. Is a 4 Plucky Dynasty Pan. This is your super combo. So you happen to have it in your hand, and you could possibly go into her, Awaken, and then swap into your 5-drop. Then maybe you want to do it at that point. But she swaps 5 for a triple yellow. She's a typical old school super combo. When you have 4 life, you draw a card and she gets plus 10k. But she's locked into Goku lineage leaders. And the whole reason why being Son Goku GT matters in this deck is this card right here, which is Deadly Golden Great Ape Son Goku. I think this card is snapped, but because he has to be paired with mediocre to bad leaders, that's what keeps his power from being completely overboard. He has swap 5 for 1 yellow, and he has a permanent that your leader has to be Son Goku GT in order to play him from any area. He has an auto that when you play him, you get to choose one Goku's lineage with a cost 5 or less, other than this card right here, and add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So because he swapped 5 for 1 yellow, if you happen to have a second one of them in your hand, it allows you to swap between them repeatedly for each energy you have. And because he's 25k, allows you to put a lot of pressure on your opponent. So you could swing 25, swap into another one, get a card, swing 25, swap into another one, get a card, swing 25. So you see, it just gets pretty stupid. And then one of the cards you want to search with this besides super combos is one of your 2 copies of Reborn Might Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. He swaps 8 for 4 yellow. This is your main finisher of the deck. He has activate main once per turn that you could take a life to restand him. But if you happen to be at 2 or less life, he gets triple strike. So that's pretty good right there. He's swinging for decent numbers and a really lethal keyword. Now, because he does swap 8, I do run 1 8-drop, and that is the much disrespected Distant Descendants Son Goku Jr. I actually think this card is really, really good. It is an ultimate. I know I said this is a budget channel, but this is one of the cheapest ultimates in the game. He usually hovers somewhere around like $25 or something like that, because literally no one plays him. But they should, because if you are playing a swap deck, he is the best thing in your deck when you actually see him. He has triple strike, and then when you swing with him, you get to look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose any number of Goku lineage, and then combo with them. And then if you happen to combo with 5 or more Goku lineage with different names, he burns your opponent for 2. Just a sick card. Now, to help to further diversify your Goku lineage lineup, I do run 3 copies of Source of Power Son Goku. Besides being a Goku lineage card, he also is a self-awakener. So he swings, you can take up to 2 life to restand him and give him plus 5k. Now, even though this card is not Goku lineage, and if it was, it will literally be disgusting. It's already a good card, but kind of disgusting. It's 2 copies of Pan Grade 8 Whisper. This card right here gets played for free if you awaken and you have 2 or less life. It's a blocker, and it has activate main that you could choose one of your yellow battle cards and restand it, and then negate her skill for the rest of the game. You can only have one of her on the table at a time, so you can't really line up a bunch of them. But it's not saying that you can't like combo her off and then play another one and then go for it again. Now, as far as utility and extra cards, we play the best searcher in the game by far, Successor of Hope. It searches any Goku lineage with a cost of 5 or less and swap, which is everything in the deck except for the 8-drop, the Pans, and the Source of Power Son Gokus. Then, as far as negates, we play 4 copies of Instant Transmission. This is the tribal negate for Son Goku's with Goku lineage. You get to take a life instead of paying his energy cost to negate an attack, and you can do that at any life total and at any under any circumstances. This right here is Time Magic. That's your negate 5 and 6. This card has Sparking 5, where you could take a life instead of playing energy to play it. But it has a really cool effect where you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and it will not restand until the end of your next turn. And it also ignores barriers, so it helps to deal with boss monsters. Then again, defensively, one of my favorite cards to play is 2 copies of Vegeta's Final Flash. This card right here is way underrated. Has Activate Battle, where if your leader is yellow, you could choose up to one of your leader cards or battle cards and give it plus 15k. So 115k is always good defensively. And then if all your energy is yellow, you could choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and negate its skill for the turn. So you really want to use this to, when your opponent goes all in on something that has multi-strike, or if they gave it multiple strike, let's say they went in with like a mirror or something, and they took and threw the chomp on it because you were at 2, and then threw their whole hand on it and got a little smug. Just pay 1, play this, take 1 damage, and then win the game on the crackback. And then last but not least, we play 2 copies of 10 times Kamehameha. This is another tribal Goku's lineage card that is locked into a Son Goku character. So it counts as Son Goku GTs. If there was for some reason a Goku lineage, Son Goku Xeno or whatever, it will work with that too. I think there's a Son Goku childhood Goku's lineage. So it works with all those cards. It gives double strike and plus 15k. So it's another 15k, and they both activate battles. So that's the deck profile. Again, it's a little rough nowadays to play it due to the counter plays and whatnot. But if you get to go first and you start working up the chain, it gets pretty hard for your opponent. And if they're playing the body counter plays like Vegeta the Cruel or Mach Speed Son Goku or the Blue Son Gohan, it literally does nothing to this deck if you keep on the barrier path. So once you get to your end game, there is only 3 cards in the game that could stop you from actually winning. Actually 4 cards. One is a leader, that's Hatchiat. But other than that, you're talking about Newwst, Topo, and Lightspeed Bullet. Topo is fairly popular, so that might come up, but the other ones probably are a little bit more niche. Like, like Newwst does exist, but you don't see a whole lot. And Lightspeed Bullet, no one plays except for me. So that's it for the deck profile. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll try to get back to you. And I'll be back with another deck profile. Enjoy the rest of your week.